tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast, because it is a Power Rankings Wednesday. What? Yeah, it's a Power Rankings Wednesday. It's presented by DraftKings. Remember, Monday, we still had a live, fresh new episode, but it was an interview with Gary Myers about Belichick and the 86 Giants and the Hall of Fame. So we moved my takeaways from the games to Tuesday, Power Rankings today on a Wednesday, and then we'll have the civilian GOAT, Greg Cosell, tomorrow. And of course, on Friday, I will make all of my picks. College draft with Emery's picks for every bowl game against the spread already posted. And then Steve Fezzik and I, as we do every Tuesday morning, 9:25 a.m. Eastern Time, 6:25 a.m. Vegas time, we, of course, have already posted all of our stuff for this week in terms of our even money bet. So we're going to dive right into the power rankings today. So I will mention, by the way, we're already only 2 days away from a Spread the Word winner via social media. There's a bunch of really easy ways to win the contest. Just engage with @RossTuckerPod on any platform in any way. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but if you email me, ross@rosstucker.com, you make it a lot easier. Maybe somebody wants this Falcons-Bears press pass. I'm going to get calling the game for CBS on Sunday. Sponsor confirmation email winner. Love those of you who take advantage of our sponsors. And then YouTube shout out's really cool because I do these videos for you and then email them to you. The same things that people pay for on Cameo, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Just reply with a comment to any video, and it can literally be, I just want a shout out video from you, Ross. That works. So speaking of shout outs, our patron of the day, Stephen Fortin. I'm going to go Stefan. Stefan Fortin. Come on down, patreon.com/RT Media. Got a great group of listeners over there. Patreon.com/RT Media. I don't know that there's really a big show today, Jack. Usually we have on a Power Rankings Tuesday, we have a game from the night before to break down. We don't. We just have more time for the Power Rankings. Let's do it.
It's time for the all-important Power Rankings. The worst team in the history of the NFL is...
All right, Ross, 32nd, Washington Commanders, new team.
They have not been 32nd all year. They actually almost came back to beat the Jets, and if they did that, they probably wouldn't be 32nd, but they were really, really bad in that game. The Jets are not a good team, and so to see the Commanders lose to the Jets, play as poorly as they did. And I would say this, you already knew in Washington that you're going to have a new GM, a new head coach. I think everybody already accepts that. Now they're going to have to get a new quarterback too, it looks like. I mean, this is why these games still matter. And I laugh at people that say these are meaningless games. I can assure you these games, in particular for Sam Howell, have been anything but meaningless.
31st, Arizona Cardinals.
Just finished watching the tape this morning, Jack, of their game against the Bears in preparation for Sunday. Not a very good team, in particular on defense, but they lack weapons at receiver. They let the Bears kind of run all over them. Not a good team. And they have a decision to make as to whether or not they would want to use their high draft choice on a new quarterback or Kyler. I think they want it to be Kyler. I don't know if Kyler's doing enough to cement that he should be that guy. But there's a lot of factors. These are very complicated decisions, much more complicated, I think, than people realize because of the draft picks involved, the money involved. It's not as simple as like, let's just get this guy instead of that guy.
Moving on up, Carolina Panthers are sitting at 30.
Well, so they won a game 2 weeks ago against the Falcons, and then they scored 30-some points and were right there against the Packers. Really, if they just had their defense play a decent game, the way that the Panthers defense had played a lot this year, they would have won that game against the Packers. That was a very, very winnable game there for Carolina.
29 is the Los Angeles Chargers.
San Diego Superchargers. San Diego Chargers. Jack, I would feel better if you moved to the music or the singing like I do as I'm singing that. Like in some way, like you gotta feel the beat.
Just did. I did like a hesitation for you to go char, and then, like I kind of swung in.
Yeah, I saw there was some movement there. This is why you got to watch us on YouTube, by the way, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Jack is the best. Go, Chargers, go. You know, if your head coach's name is Giff Smith, he sounds like a guy that would say, go, Chargers, go, Giff. Anyway, I want to know more about his name. Like, how did you get the name Giff? How does that even happen? It's like, well, Biff was already taken. Anyway, I'll give the Chargers credit. They fought. They came out, fought hard on Saturday night against the Bills and gave them a heck of a game in that one.
28, New England Patriots.
Oh, I got to remember to look at my sheet of some of the stuff that's happened. The Cardinals, by the way, lost Jonathan Ledbetter for the season. If people care about that, I think that's the only team that has had news that we've gone over yet. Who'd you say, the Patriots?
Yes.
I think the Patriots against the Broncos and the Patriots in a couple of these recent games, like the Patriots against the Steelers, these are kind of more like the Patriots that I thought we would see this year. I thought after those first two games, home losses to the Eagles and the Dolphins, but they were competitive. They were right there. I mean, those are two of my top 5 teams. I thought, okay, they're not quite good enough to beat teams like that, but they're right there. I really thought the Patriots would be like a 7-9 win team this year.
So to answer your question before, GIF has its origins in the Old French language and is a contracted form of the English Gifford.
Are we sure that's how the football coach for the Chargers got it?
I mean, that is per babynamespedia.com.
Babynamepedia?
I just Googled GIF name origins and it was all a bunch of last names. But
are you able to just add Edia to the end of anything and like it's a word? Like if we're talking about food, like Tuck Spreads Edia. What does Edia mean? Look that up next time, Jack.
In the meantime, the New York Jets are 27.
And the Jets announced yesterday that Trevor Siemian will start again. Tomorrow night, by the way, is that game already. That Trevor Siemian will start because Zach Wilson still hasn't cleared the concussion protocol. By the way, Robert Saleh said this week, as I pause for 1 second to sneeze.
Bless you.
The beauty of live podcasting. All right. So, two things are interesting. Flacco was asked about the Jets never calling him, and Flacco kind of just gave it is what it is. Because, of course, everybody in Jersey where he lives was like, why don't you go to the Jets? Why don't you go to the Jets? So he gave and it is what it is. And then Robert Saleh says they don't regret not having signed Flacco. Really? Really, Robert Saleh? I mean, I guess what's he going to say? But I would hope that they do regret not signing Joe Flacco and giving themselves actually a chance to be in the playoff mix right now.
26 to the New York Giants.
The G-Men. By the way, the G-Men, that reminds me, I forgot to do the press box food yesterday for the Christmas Day thing, which was very important to my mother-in-law, Rachel. Shout out, Rachel. So, as a reminder, I don't always put it on Facebook, but it's always on Twitter and Instagram at Ross Tucker NFL, the press box food for every game I do. And I haven't done as good of a job this year, Jack, of breaking it down. Pretty impressive by the Eagles. They had their most extensive salad bar of the season. They had a fruit tray, which I appreciate. That's like when I go back up for seconds, I feel better by getting fruit. Then they had this like chocolate cake thing, which is not for me. I'm not like a huge cake pie guy. Then they had salmon, which I love, rice, mashed potatoes. Then, and this wasn't on the video, and my wife scolded me for not taking the time to go and redo the video, but I did the video right when I got there before the pregame show. But they had a carving station with sliced ham. I'm a huge sliced ham guy. And then around the corner, they had a pasta bar, which was awesome. So I don't even know. I don't know the difference. We need Tommy DeVito on the show. I don't know the difference between the different pastas I had, but the one was like, I want to say it was like tortellini maybe with pesto sauce. The other one was rigatoni maybe with like marinara sauce. It was delicious. I give the Eagles an A. And shout out to the Giants. That was one of my best power ranking breakdowns of a team yet. My breakdown of the Giants was all about the Eagles press box food. No, I will say, in sincerity, for the Giants, they fight. They fight. They don't give up. I'll be curious to see who the quarterback is this week. I mean, Tyrod Taylor gives you a better chance to win the game, maybe, but what are you really getting out of that? You know, like I would start DeVito because I would want to know whether or not I felt good about him as the number 2 next year. I understand giving the team a spark on Sunday, but I want to know whether or not I feel good about him for next year. I know what I feel good about, Jack. Game Time, the Game Time app. It is amazing. It's the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. I never even heard of it till like 2 years ago. Now I'm obsessed with it. I'm literally that guy telling family and friends, yo, do you have the Game Time app on your phone? You should. Especially my buddies that didn't know what to get somebody for a gift, for anything. There's no better gift than tickets to an event. No better gift. And now, I'm telling you, these bowl games and some of these late season NFL games, you can get incredible tickets to take your kids to a game or whoever. As you know, the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ROSS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem code ROSS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
25 is Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say about them other than I would expect them to start Will Levis as long as he's able or capable at all. Because as Mike Vrabel said, you know, these are very, very valuable reps for him coming down the stretch because they want to feel as secure as possible that he's their starter next year and know and feel good about that.
24th is the Denver Broncos.
Really disappointing last 2 games. They had so much momentum, and I was feeling so much better about them. Heck, in my article for the 33rd team, I even mentioned Sean Payton, and then they get housed by the Lions. Okay, but then you can't come back and lose at home to the Patriots. Can't do it. Bad look for Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, the Broncos. They're deciding stuff. Russell Wilson's deciding stuff right now.
23rd is the Bears.
The Bears. I'm looking forward to their game on Sunday, man. I mean, first of all, their defense is good. Second of all, Fields is electric. I mean, I know he had more big runs, crazy runs last year, but he is really fun to watch, especially when he starts to run around. Just a very, very gifted runner. It turns into big plays in the passing game sometimes too.
22nd, Atlanta Falcons.
How about that? The 2 teams, do they even know how important Sunday's game is, Jack? Do they realize that they're fighting for a potential berth in my top 20 power rankings? I mean, some things are more important than just football. And one of those is finishing the year in the top 20 in my power rankings. And the Falcons and Bears both have a golden opportunity when they square off on Sunday. Both teams, it's interesting watching them. Both teams want to run the rock and have play action. I mean, they actually are very similar. Both have pretty good defenses. Very, very similar teams.
21st is the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, when the Saints come marching in. The biggest Saints fans this weekend, the Atlanta Falcons, because the Saints play the Bucks. If the Bucks win, they win the division. It's over. So the Falcons fans really need the Saints to beat the Bucks.
20th, Jacksonville Jaguars.
They actually signed Matt Barkley yesterday off of the Giants practice squad, which is so funny, right, Jack? Because I'm on the field Monday talking with Giants coaches, watching Matt Barkley throw. Matt Barkley was like at the game for the Giants, and then now he plays for the Jaguars. Not a good sign for Trevor Lawrence's shoulder, by the way. Not a good sign for Trevor Lawrence's shoulder at all.
19th, the Minnesota Vikings.
The Minnesota Vikings. Dude, they've had an all-time bad injury year. I mean, an all-time bad injury year. Now they lose DJ Wanham, one of their best defensive players. Opposite Danielle Hunter, he's had a really good season. They lose him to a torn quad. And TJ Hawkinson, who's had an awesome season, torn ACL and MCL, Jack, which makes it dicey for him to even be back for the start of next season. I mean, that is just brutal.
18th, Green Bay Packers.
Dun, 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 dun. Go, Pack, go. Dun, 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 dun. So I think that, I mean, look, anything can happen in these last two games. I don't think they're going to the playoffs. I think that they have discovered that Jordan Love's their guy and that Joe Barry's not. And so if that's what they got out of the year, those two things and a lot of experience for the young guys, I think it's a decent year for the Packers.
17th, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers look like they are poised, Jack, to start Mason Rudolph at quarterback again, which makes sense. They want to see how Pickett comes back from that ankle injury, but with the way Rudolph played, it doesn't really make sense to put Pickett out there unless he's totally mobile, athletic, 100% Pickett. And the way these things go is he won't be 100% until Rudolph plays poorly. That's how it goes.
16th is the Raiders.
The Raiders. I feel like I was way ahead of the game with that article last month saying Pierce will be the head coach, because Pierce will be the head coach because it makes sense for Mark Davis to do it. Although, remember this, very important life lesson. You can't always think logically with illogical people, right? Like Mark Davis is not necessarily a logical person. So the idea that he's going to not make the same mistake this time with Antonio Pierce, that would be right if he was logical, but he's not, so it might not be right.
15th, Indianapolis Colts.
They're right there, man. They are still right there in the mix in the AFC South. Very disappointing game for them against the Falcons. They're just not the same without Michael Pittman.
14th, Cincinnati Bengals.
Big drop-off from the Bengals. I don't know. It's like they ran out of gas against the Steelers. That was surprising. The question now, in my mind, is like, was that a one-game anomaly? Or is that who the Bengals are now?
13th is the Houston Texans.
Texans claimed our guy from earlier in the year, Jack. Kareem Jackson off waivers from the Broncos. Broncos put him on waivers. I think they were going to put him down on the practice squad for whatever reason. They didn't want to lose a guy on their roster, and the Texans are like, we'll take him. Maybe the Broncos just felt like they couldn't count on him to actually be available anymore because of the multiple suspensions this year. You know what's always available? DoorDash. Listen, while you're watching the games this weekend or the bowl games this week, make it easy on yourself. Order in on DoorDash. Now you can root for your squad or your bets or your picks or whatever while your food and drinks are on the way. So that means burgers, chips, dips, soda, pizza, wings, so much more delivered straight to your door. And you can't just sit there and eat food without having a Labatt Blue Light. I mean, that they like go together. It's like peanut butter and jelly, food and Labatt Blue Light. Anything, friends, family, and Labatt Blue Light. Live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York.
12th, Seattle Seahawks.
So the Seahawks, they're firmly in the mix now after back-to-back come from behind 2-minute drill touchdowns. They're in the playoffs if they ended today.
11th is Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow. Dude, there's no way. There's no way 4 weeks ago when they were what? 5-7? What are they now? 9-7? No, 8-7. There's no way 4 weeks ago when they were 4-7, I thought the Bucs would be on the precipice of being in the top 10 of my power rankings. No way.
10th, LA Rams.
I really hope the first round of the playoffs is Rams at the Lions, which is very possible. Lions 3 seed, Rams 6 seed, Stafford in Detroit. That would be like excruciating for Lions fans. And by the way the Lions defense is playing right now and the way Stafford's playing right now, he would probably torch them.
9, Kansas City Chiefs.
I can't remember the last time they were this low. It has to be years since the last time the Chiefs were this low in my power rankings.
8, Cleveland Browns.
I feel like the Browns probably were this high in 2020 when they had that really good year. I feel like they were probably pretty high one of those years, but I mean, they have a very good defense. Flacco and the offense are putting up more than enough points right now. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
7 is the Detroit Lions.
Kind of feels like at 11-4, they should be higher than this, but the other teams I think are all pretty good and better than them. Lions still working on, I mean, they just got torched by Nick Mullins, but they got the turnovers to make up for it.
6, Dallas Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys? See, I'm not really downgrading them that much, Jack, just because they lost back-to-back games. They actually were right there on the road against the Dolphins. Could have won that game. It was a nice bounce-back performance from that debacle in Buffalo.
5 is Philadelphia Eagles.
Usually it's a team that's won more games in a row that I say I'm going to roll with. But this week I'm going to roll with the Eagles. They're the team I'm going to ride with. Brought to you by Wrangler, made for the ride of life. Save 15% on your first Wrangler.com order with promo code ROSS15. I guess I'm just a little more optimistic than everybody else, or a lot of people at least, for the Eagles after this last game. They had almost 500 yards of offense. The Giants didn't even have 300 yards of offense, and that included the 70-yard bomb. The Eagles moved the ball really well. They got everybody involved. Hurts had a good game. Swift, Goddard, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. They had some fluke plays go against them. Goddard falls, pick six. Boston Scott runs into the back of Olamide Zaccheaus, fumble. Giants get a touchdown. Now they had some critical errors too, but I think if you're an Eagles fan, you should be feeling much better about them after that last game. And with the Cardinals and Giants coming up, they have a chance to really get some momentum here.
4th, Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins got a big win. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins have to play the Ravens now. There's some big-time games. Cowboys, Lions, Dolphins, Ravens, yummy.
3 is the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. So Bills didn't move at all. Thought about moving them down because it was close against the Chargers, but I don't really believe in that. You find a way to win. That's all that matters. Nobody cares after the season what the score of the game was.
2, San Francisco 49ers.
Niners are not done adding pieces. Yesterday, my guy Jason McCourty, who I'll be on the call with for that Falcons-Bears game Sunday, he broke the news. Sebastian Joseph, I think they were teammates at Rutgers. He signed with the Niners as they get another D tackle to try to stop the run, get in the rotation.
Ross's number one team, which is totally meaningless, but it's fun and will get many of you incredibly annoyed, is...
And number 1 is the Baltimore Ravens.
They earned it. Their defense with that DC Mike McDonald, crazy impressive. Lamar Jackson playing awesome. Ravens certainly looked like the best team in football on Monday night. Exquisite performance. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out to myfrontpagestory.com. Highly recommend that for any gift, for any loved one, at any point. But what about Sporticulture? What about Pizza Boy Brewing? What about SteakhouseSports.com? What about HumanHeadNYC.com? What about BackOfficeScheduler.com?